There's a stigma in the space where people think that because it's December, you're going to do terribly and low profit.
Where did you guys end up on the month?
We finished at 1.4 million. The very end of the month, we run the webinar, book 200 calls, and we're starting to do like 100K days consistently. It's like every day is at least 100K. One day we did 150,000 in cash, and it's just all day, just payment channels just filling up.
What would you say to the rep that's having trouble? Let's say I'm the rep and I'm like, man, I'm not sure where to go.
The biggest reason I see that reps will panic and not know what to say is because they're not empathetic enough in the conversation and the person doesn't trust them. They'll get one-word answers, or the prospect will just keep it very surface level with them. You're focused on yourself. You're not focused on the person, and you're not listening to what they're telling you. Okay, dude, yeah, so we're kind of doing a podcast. I'm kind of a big deal, so I don't have a lot of time on my hands.
I'm kind of a big deal, so do you mind just waiting on me 3 hours?
Like, dude, if you want to be me, you'll just pay right now.
Yeah.
I'll have you on the podcast.
This isn't a convincing call. But yeah, so I towards the end of the year, I wrote some sort of like, hey, a lot of people are going to go into January and just be stuck looking at their resume, you know, figuring out how to send applications, and they're going to spend 3 months just BSing and not getting anywhere. So if you guys who are on the fence want to kickstart the momentum before the end of the year, like, we can get you started for $3,000. And it pushed a lot of people over. Like, I was doing the end of the year, like, my stories were like me just like closing people towards the very end of the day of New Year's Eve. And I know you guys had a blowout day as well, and we can talk about that for sure. But a lot of, like, there was like 25 extra responses that I didn't even field because I logged off after that and kind of took a second, took a day or two. And so now I've just been catching up on those responses, and I'm like, hey, like, if you want it, like, we can still just throw you in the program because we can really help these people.
So when you say 3K, you're saying 3K flat or 3K down?
3K down, and the idea would be in a month to upgrade to the whole program after
for
they've actually
additional
experienced it.
12K.
Right. And so if they don't want to, then they can just take the help that we've given them, and we're even, you know.
Okay.
We still offer the refundable. So on the old offer that I was on, it was a 3-day window, which is just like legally you had to give people 72 hours. Like, I guess there's probably
To be able to refund?
Yeah, like any contract, like if you like buy a car or something, you can take it back within 2 or 72 hours and be like, I was misled, or I was in the moment, or something like that. And so our refund rate on that was like 0.2% overall. But the logic is that this type of buyer, and you've experienced them a little bit, it's so different than BizOp. They're super skeptical. They're super A-type. And I'm not saying A-type like I'm a crappy closer. I'm saying these people are like, they lead Amazon, and they're very analytical. And it's a different
I've seen
sale. So it's, I mean, every time I'm having to really do what's the success rate, even though we handle it before the call. And then, you know,
Well, I hear them. They're like, can you put someone that looks just like me and has the exact same experience as me on a call with me so that I can ask 55 questions to them?
Yeah, and I'm like,
Did they all do that?
every single one. Like,
Yeah, it was the same thing for me.
90%.
Selling that offer. Yeah.
It's tricky. So we're just, it's interesting too. Like, and at first I wanted to really be careful about making assumptions and generalizations about like Indian clients, but it's like, no, there's a cultural difference, and you need to be aware of that if you want to do business. That's like in international business, they teach you like the common pleasantries of China. You know, if you're going to go and shake someone's hand in Chinese and throw up a middle finger, it's actually it's a pinky finger, like the middle finger, or that's what we thought when we were kids. But like, there's a bunch of cultural differences that apply to these clients that you just kind of have to, deal with. Like, the amount of times that we get asked for a discount is 100% of the time. Like, it's every call.
Yeah.
So we, and it's also really interesting because we have a Reddit thread that they're like, oh, they're high pressure sales guys, whatever. But it's like, man, if we're just holding these people accountable. Like, we're not bending our arms, and we offer a risk-free refundable month. You can literally just ask us. We've never denied someone a refund, right? Like, so it's been tricky, but yeah, we're pacing about $500,000 a month. And then if at 10%, let's say we did $450,000 in cash, right? 10% would be 45. So we're still doing 400, you know, so it's a fair trade. So it's been interesting learning this one. And that's why I think a lot of sales training, especially if you're learning sales training from someone who's sold sales training, it doesn't always apply because it's very contextual. So I'm sure even though I want to avoid it, we will get into that at some point. But dude, Tristan, welcome back to the pod, man.
It's good to be here.
I'm the only one with an energy drink this time.
Yeah.
You want to expand on that?
Yeah, so I'm a chronic energy drink recovery guy. I drink energy drinks daily, at least 2 to 3 times a day for 2.5 years. And I actually got started when I was working at a car dealership. I would drink them all the time. It was like my ritual. And anyone who like really likes energy drinks, you're drinking it for the flavor.
Yeah,
it's not even for
tastes
the
great,
energy.
Dude. Both. It's both.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, for me, like everyone, I think I said this in the last podcast, like my buddies would make fun of me saying that I would pour it into a champagne glass before going to the gym and watch Andrew Tate videos. Yeah. So I was
getting
just
that mode
all the time. And I love the flavor, the ghosts, the rains. My favorite was a blue rain. But
wasn't that your cake at your wedding?
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
It was my groom's cake, which I didn't even know was a thing until my wife told me I needed one.
That's lit.
But
well, I guess not to derail from that story, but you also got married, so we can talk
did.
about that. But so you're free from the energy drinks. Why?
Yeah, so I promised my wife that I would get off of energy drinks.
Did she have a concern?
Yeah.
She's like, dude, you're gonna die. Like you're gonna have a heart attack.
Yeah, it was like her mom was really pressing it too. Like she had family members who work in healthcare. And so they see the cases all the time where people come in and they have like holes in their esophagus or holes in their intestines, and they have heart issues and colon cancer and all kinds of like degenerative diseases for drinking those drinks. But I'd just be like, dude, it tastes good. Like I'm not drinking it for the energy. I like the taste. And I would always tell myself like, I'm going to kick it. I'm not going to do it anymore. But I just saw my energy was starting to go down. Like I would crash. Because I was drinking 2 or 3 a day, every single day. Right around like 3 p.m.
That's number 2 for me.
3 p.m. I'm like crashing hard, where I'm super foggy and I can't focus, and I'm yawning like 55 times. And the second I hit November 23rd, I haven't had a sip since then.
How do you feel about that?
I feel great. Like I thought I would have had more of like an issue with energy or just crashing or
some sort of relapse.
Fatigue, yeah.
Is it tempting when I have one? It's like, oh man.
I really like the rains a lot. I'll go in the gas station and like walk towards it and be like, no, I don't get those anymore. And then I'll go get like a soda or a coffee. But yeah, I'm still trying to figure out like what kind of substitute, because the flavor is so good. Soda or water. But I also found myself switching to just soda, where I would just drink like Coke Zero or Pepsi, etc. And I just cut it out. So I only do water and coffee if I'm at my apartment, and if I'm at dinner somewhere, I'll have like a diet soda.
Nice.
But it's been good. Super high energy, very focused, no crashing, no yawning, pretty locked in, dialed on my meetings. So I would recommend it.
Yeah, I'm like, right before my sales meeting, if I don't have one, I'll like fly to the gas station. And
Yeah.
Grab
well,
one.
dude, you spend so much money on it too. I'm literally spending like, $100 a week at the grocery store to get all the energy drinks.
Me and the 7-Eleven lady are close.
Yeah.
She knows I got to get my.
Dude, you know what's funny? There was a 7-Eleven near my house when I was living with all of my buddies. And there was this woman who I would see every single day. And she was like, "What's your name?" And I was like, "Tristan." And she's like, "Really?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And she shows me her wrist and pulls it up, and it had my name. The exact spelling was on her wrist. And I took
Does she
a
have
photo
a son
of it.
named Tristan?
I think so, yeah.
Okay, that'd be weird if not.
She's like, "Me and you, it could work." I'm kidding.
There you go. Do people ask you when you say that your name is Tristan, they're like, Legends of the Fall, Brad Pitt?
Yeah.
Every time.
You too?
Yeah, every time.
Well, we have the same spelling too.
Right, yeah.
It's usually, do people always say IAN?
Yeah,
or
and when
EN?
I get put in text threads, and Harrison does that too. And maybe not Harrison, but a lot of my roommates or like people I'm close with, I'm like, you see my name, you know? Like, I'll make it super clear. I'll put like Tris with capital A in, like just when I spell it out. I don't actually do that. But yeah, I get hit with IAN a lot. But okay, so you quit energy drinks. you got married.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me about that.
I didn't really know what to expect because I haven't been around a lot of weddings. Like I maybe been to like 1 or 2 weddings my
I've been
entire
to
life.
one in between us talking.
Yeah, it's not. Is it common? I think guys who are like Christian and very connected in college get invited to a lot of weddings, especially like
The
Christians
people
get
that
married
have
quicker.
friends that are in groups of people that would be likely to get married faster.
Yeah.
Probably go to more weddings. Fortunately, I've been to a lot of funerals. Really, like 15 funerals.
Really?
Yeah, actually. And I always thought, like, I've never been to a wedding. Like I'm like, oh, they wear white here. Like, like it's more white. It's not black on black. So
Yeah.
I had to get a different suit. But anyways, so you didn't know what to expect. What were some of the surprising things about the wedding?
Surprising things. I think it was cool to see the way we did it was we did like praise and worship during the ceremony.
Mm-hmm.
So we had 2 of our friends, one of my really good buddies, and then one of her good friends led the worship and were singing. And we were up on stage at the altar singing and like facing this cross.
So like church service plus wedding combined.
Legit, it was like
That's lit.
a church service, and you could just hear everyone behind you. There's like 200 people in there singing. And there are a lot of people who are not Christian there. And there were several relatives of mine that came up that are not Christian that were like, that was powerful. Like I was very impacted by that.
Let's go.
So that was cool. Other than that, I expected to have more time with people. I expected to be able
it's
to.
Fast.
It goes really, really fast, and then you don't have the time to be able to thank people really or have genuine conversations with them. It's almost like you got to just hit everyone.
Sure. Yeah, I noticed I went to my buddy Jesse's wedding, and he was in that mode of like, hey, 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 hey. You know, it's like you're a celebrity that day. You know, like you're the center of the crowd. You know, so that's super cool, and obviously your wife too. But I ended up spinning up a speech while I was at the wedding, and they were like, hey, we're not taking any more guests, speakers or whatever, but I paid the DJ, and I was like, put me in the lineup, and went and gave a speech, so that was pretty cool. So your brother did a speech too, right?
He did a speech. He crushed it. The speech was very, I would say, like before doing it, he was pretty nervous. He was like reading through the script over and over again, because it's like, you know, there's a bunch of people there. But it was very well thought out, and he hit like his whole testimony pretty much. And the main themes is like, I'm his older brother. So it's like, you know, Tristan beat me to getting married. He beat me to becoming a Christian first. And he's always winning. Like he never lets me win was like the moral of it. And then he was just sharing like how much he loves my wife and how excited he is to have her in the family. And he's just such a good storyteller, and shared his testimony of becoming a Christian and everything that he had went through. And I started tearing up at the end, and he started tearing up. And after he was done with it, he's like, dude, you freaking got me at the end. Like I was going strong until the very end. It was powerful. It was probably like 10 or 15 minutes. And the recurring theme was like, that's the best man speech I've ever heard at a wedding in my life. Recurring theme. I
think about writing a lot. I worked for a writing education business, and I have a tattoo on my chest that means it is written. And I think I heard this from some Jordan Peterson clip when I was really young. It was like, if you can learn to write, you'll become a weapon, or something to that degree. Mm-hmm. And dude, if you can put together, I've had a few moments in my life where I've delivered a talk or a speech, not maybe on public. I've spoken in public a couple times, and I want to do that a lot more this year. We can talk about the event that's coming up too. But if you can deliver a powerful collection of words, the world is basically yours. Yeah. You know, and like we saw that with Brian at the Bible study this morning, like he's just on it, man, and he can just deliver it. And that's a really powerful, I mean, that's what we're doing on sales calls. You know, part of it is questioning and listening, but the other part is the pitch and sharing of the new beliefs and stuff. Yeah. What a powerful thing to be able to learn to do. And I think that I think last time we spoke a little bit about how some of it's nature, and everybody thinks it's all nurture, but I'm starting to believe more and more that you can learn this, right? But yeah, so you got married, then your honeymoon, and that's probably your first time off in quite a bit.
Yeah.
Walk me through that. How did it feel? I also took a little bit of a break, and for about 4 days, my nervous system resisted relaxing,
Mm-hmm.
and I certainly don't have the skill of chilling.
Mm-hmm.
What was that like for you?
Yeah, it was my first week-long vacation in 4 years. So
That's impressive, man. That's different than like 1 year. Like
yeah,
I tell people, yeah, I haven't had a week off in 18 months, but that's 4 years is different. Like you've been on your grind.
yeah. I think it was good in the sense that I was forced to get off Slack, delete all the apps and the notifications, and be fully present with my wife. And that was really nice. And we went to an all-inclusive, so it's like you can go and get whatever food you want, whenever you want it, is however much you want. You're on a beach. And yeah, it was really, really nice. Quiet. It wasn't too many people, so you could kind of do whatever you wanted to do. And there weren't like lines or anything like that, but really enjoyed just tanning and relaxing. And we'd read the Bible together and just talking about what we wanted our marriage to look like and setting expectations. And
is there any tactical things that y'all did, or was it just kind of an open conversation, or did y'all go through a framework or anything?
yeah, we're pretty deep, both of us, regarding what we want and what our expectations are, and being on the same page, and some things that we can't get into or we don't have to, about just like what we've gone through and the therapy. Sure. And like just working on communication and making sure that we're on the same page, because from what I've seen in marriage in general, it's like from what people have shared with me, typically the reason that marriages struggle is because they're not on the same page.
Right.
And so trying to set those expectations and what the standards are going forward was really good. And just enjoying each other, because it was so like fast paced, especially towards the end of like getting all the ducks in the row and planning the wedding and all the traveling with the parents and the holidays, because it was November. So it's like Thanksgiving, Christmas, being with all the families. So it was just good to sit and be still and not work, even though I was itching, similar to what you probably experienced, like wanting to check the notifications, wanting to make sure the teams are good. And I think a lot of that goes into like the deeper root, which is fear that if you're not there, that things will break and you'll lose traction, or you'll fall behind. And I think that's the recurring theme that most of us have, is that we're behind and we need to do more. It doesn't matter how many calls you take or how many deals you close or how much you achieve. You always feel like there's still more work to be done. And I've seen that shows up in big ways when it comes to anger issues, control issues, when I don't get my way, or just overall, similar to what we studied this morning in the Bible, of not trusting God and not trusting his plan, and me wanting to force my own desires instead of just surrendering.
Sure.
So being forced into that, she's very much more, trips, travel, fun, vacations. Like work's not the most important thing.
Quality time.
Yeah, which makes sense. Like she's just a girl. And for me, I need to grow a lot in that, of like, I can actually enjoy what I've done, and I don't always have to be working, and I don't always have to be readily available at the phone when it rings. Like I can just enjoy my life, and God will provide it. And if he doesn't, then he has other plans, and I have to just be okay with that.
Yeah, I think it's interesting that the thing that annoys us when we zoom out, it's like, man, why can't I just relax? It's also the thing that has gotten us here. Like Hormozy talks about, the three main things that are common amongst billionaires is like impulse control, crippling insecurity, and a superiority complex. It's like those are all like, they have the negative connotation, but it's also the reason that someone becomes a billionaire, or it's a common thread, right? So like the do better and the you're behind is pretty much every single day of my life. Mm-hmm. You know, I've been trying to be more gentle. My mentor, Nicholas Cole, we would do these one-on-ones, and he would basically just remind me, like, give yourself some compassion, give yourself compassion, give yourself compassion, give yourself compassion. And he had to go through, years of therapy to get there. I think part of the way I want to frame talking about what's going on currently and the success that you had going into December, as well as what's on the horizon now that we've covered all the previous stuff, is this marathon mindset thing, right? And obviously the people that know me know there's this big overlap with the running and the endurance stuff and then the business stuff. And it's funny, my top sales rep, Chris, he just messaged me, and I told him I was going to load him up, and I was like, I'll make you rich, whatever. And he's like, there's a difference between sales skill set and sales endurance, taking this many calls, right? Being able to not burn out and turn off screens and then get back to it the next day and do that over and over again. And no one's talking about that either. So we're going to have an event that's going to be really cool. We can jump to that, but chronologically, you get back from the honeymoon, and then and everybody that follows you on Instagram watched you guys have a blowout month. So you want to walk me through that?
Yeah. So I'm within a sales agency right now. So I run 3 different sales teams, and this one in particular I'd been with since I picked it up in October. So long story short, the company had done like $330K the month before. It's like financial literacy. So we help people with either you have no idea what you're doing, you got no budget, no plan in place, money is something that you have never learned about, you have no real plan for or strategy behind. And so whether you're making a lot of money or you're not making a lot of money, it doesn't really matter. It's how much you keep. And so with these people coming into the company, they were doing around $330K a month, some bigger months, some smaller months. But I think the most they'd done in a month was like 500 something K cash. And he had a big social media following, and I'd seen his page before. So when I heard about the role, I was like, man, this guy looks like a beast operator. Like he's very intelligent, great content. People love him. And it's a great product. Like people really need this, especially after all these goons selling ridiculous coaching programs and courses and putting them further in debt. And so,
yeah, we know a $25,000 program that might be doing some damage to people, but
yeah. So I took on the role and came in, and I just noticed that there was a lot of pointing fingers, in the sense that people weren't on the same page. Like the first thing that I heard about was, man, we got this closer and he's changing his numbers in the CRM, or he's changing his numbers in the data so that he has like a higher close rate or a higher show rate, was the first thing that I heard about. And I was like, that's interesting. And they were going and doing the deep dives into his calls and his reports and stuff like that. So it's like, that's interesting. So I came on and I started first of all by including the setters and the closers together on one meeting, because they were meeting like once or twice a week. And I was like, let's do it every day, because I really want to understand what's the dynamic here, who are the leaders, who are the people that are more like problems, cancers, and what is the standard right now for what excellence looks like.
How big was the team at that point?
Probably like 12 people or so.
On the sales department? 5
closers and then another setters. We do DM and inbound and outbound settings. So it's a pretty big team. So I came in and I started training the team. And the way that I run meetings is like, yes, we're going to focus on numbers and data, but that's more of a me thing. Like I'm going to go and look in that myself. And if there are any issues that I need to address, then I'll bring that into the meeting and get clarity, or go through Slack DMs and stuff like that. So anyway, get on the meeting. We'll run through any issues that anyone's facing, and it's like open floor, setters, closers, what's actually coming up. And typically what I see with setters is they're not as vocal. They're not as vocal about how they feel and what the issues are. It's kind of like, if this becomes a big problem, then I'll let management know, but they're not super direct in comparison to closers.
Sure.
Well, closers would be like, dude, this lead sucks.
Yeah.
And so I just wanted to understand what that looked like. But we started running the meetings, and then after we go through issues, then I'm just going to do call reviews in front of everyone and just break down calls and give feedback. And one of the biggest things that I realized early on was that everyone was kind of doing something a little bit different, or in this case, their process was heavily focused on logic and like numbers and trying to make the math make sense to the person to build urgency, rather than focusing on the emotion. So they'd say things like, tell me about how how much debt you're in and tell me about, the 401k and all this logic, which is helpful. Like, you want to know where you're at and you want to understand the gap. But if the whole conversation is that in a pitch, then you're missing out on so much leverage. And so I just started giving feedback and reviewing the calls and started to realize that there were some people who were super receptive to the feedback, and then there are some people who are not. And that's okay. Like, I get it. If you don't want to follow my lead, then there's somewhere else better for you. Not everyone is going to stick to it. I'm very direct, this is how it's going to be. And if you're about it, great. You'll learn a lot. You'll grow a lot. But if you're not, then that's okay. And so I just started kind of making my way through the team and setting new standards. And one of the biggest things that I wanted to over communicate was that we're all a team. There will never be a point in time where someone blasts another team member in Slack about, dude, you booked this lead, dude, and this lead sucked, and this is your fault, because I would see that, and vice versa. Like, man, you got to think about an objection. You just let them off the call, and now, I'm working so hard, and I can't even pay my bills. So we're a team. There's unity here, and we're never going to blast each other, because we all win together and we all lose together. And then the other one was excellence. We're not going to cut corners in anything. And there are no excuses. So that's the expectation.
So we're a team. Excellence, no excuses.
Yeah.
One quick note. My business partner on the career coaching offer, we have been through some ups and downs together for sure. And the highs are high and the lows are low. But he always refers to it as like him and I have a rev share of the company. And we're like rock climbers. It's like, if he falls down, I'm going back with him, right? And so a lot of people forget that whenever you're on a team, especially with the way that a lot of coaching programs are set up, especially on the sales side, is that commission equals accountability, meaning if you're not doing your work, you're not getting paid. But other people can affect that. And so it's kind of like you're all like climbing up a mountain together. And if one person falls, it's like it'll bring the whole team down. And if one person's pulling everybody up. So the team effort, I think we are all a team. It's insane. It's not insane. It's crazy to kind of hear that sometimes you have to just remind people of that. Sometimes when you have those cultural issues, it can take months and months, right? So you started doing that. I'm surprised how quickly you turn it around, which speaks to your leadership in a big way, dude. But you set those three kind of ideas, and then?
The final idea was, and you see this all the time, where sales can be very selfish. Me, my numbers, my skill set, my commissions. And you lose touch with the person, where you're so focused on the next word track and the next objection handling tactic, and you lose sight on the human being that you're talking to. So the other standard being that I'm a Christian guy is serving the person that you're talking to. And if serving the person means you're on the call with them for 2 or 3 hours, then that's what it is. Because you have I'm not going to quit attitude, and you'll do everything in your power to help them. And that's very countercultural to the sales agency and just sales in general, of selfishness and pride and ego and money and status and achievements. So I think that was really big. Like, a lot of the reps would come to me and say, like, hey, dude, I'm becoming a better man. Like, I'm getting in the Bible. I'm doing what I say I'm going to do. And I feel like I'm truly making an impact on these people. Yeah. And it's invigorating. Because I see it with the reps, and the reps see it with the clients, and the clients see it in the results.
And I'm sure you could see did you see an immediate relief?
Yeah.
Where it's like everybody kind of just drops their shoulders.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, let's just.
Not so much tension and pressure.
Yeah.
Because if you feel like you're helping the person, then you can do it for 8 hours straight. But if you feel like you're trying to, like, you feel like you're performing.
Get your close rate up.
Yeah, you're like performing. It's like exhausting.
Yeah.
So put that in place. In the first month, we hit $500K cash. And we also had like a back end offer that bumped us up to $800K. So it was $800K in the first month total cash.
Back end meaning like after 12 weeks.
It's like an upsell. Yeah.
Continuity thing.
Exactly.
Is it structured such that it's monthly and they can, or is it like another annual, or is it another 3 months?
It was just like I think it was like a 6-month bump.
Okay.
It was like helping them with CPA and tax help.
Yeah. And then is it a one time, or they could break it up?
Yeah. Exactly. So
Nice.
that was a big month. I take more of the credit for the 500K than the
Sure.
full 800. But then the second month we hit 500K, and then the third month we were pacing for, it's December, so it's like the busy month in the high ticket info space where people always say that, like, dude, November, December, slowest months.
That is such a belief.
Yeah, it is. And everyone, it's like, the holidays, I made a good enough amount of money. I can take no calls and just hang out with my family, which I'm all about balance, but there's a stigma in the space where people think that automatically because it's December, you're going to do terribly and low profit. But so we were pacing for like 700K halfway through the month. And the most we done in a day was 56K cash.
That is really surprising, dude.
So we were like, that was
So
the
you're at
company
bottom of the
record.
mountain.
Company record was 56K in a day. And so I noticed when I was on my honeymoon, which was the beginning of December, we had a couple days that were like 45K. And I was like, okay, that's interesting, because I was like looking at the data coming back into it. So I come back second week of December, start running the daily sales meetings again. And I get a message from the CEO in our leadership chat where he's like, hey, I want to push. Like, we're going to do a webinar. Let's bring on some closers and really like ramp towards the new year. Because the new year was supposed to be like our $1 million month. We're going to push really hard. And so due to my social media and the way that I've started to build a following over time and just posting a lot of valuable content, I have this huge pool of trained reps from a lot of trainers that I really respect. So when I do a content blast and I'm hiring for a company, I'll just post the role, the OTE, amount of calls, what I'm looking for experience, and all of a sudden I have
And
like...
if you're inexperienced, we will block you.
Yeah. Don't call me G in the DMs.
Yo, G. And don't start a message with just yo.
Yeah.
I actually I learned this from one of my mentors. He was like, texting him yo, and he's like, dude, whatever you're gonna text me, just say it with the yo, so we can just eliminate half of this wasted space. So no G's, no yo's, but you got this big content pool. Big pool of candidates from your content.
Exactly. So I do a hiring blast, and I already had a couple of closers that I'd worked with in the past that had reached out to me and were like, hey, dude, I want to learn under you again. And just the way that I treat people, this is not like a glazing session for myself, but I treat people the right way, and I care a lot, and they feel that. And it's not common in this industry, as you've seen. So I do a hiring blast, and I brought in like 3 or 4 guys and got the closing team from 5 to 10 in a period of a week. And so we run this webinar, and he booked like 200 calls from it. And we start just building the process, making sure all the reps are doing the admin correctly, they understand the product, and really training hard on that. And we started hitting, 50K days. I'm like, okay, starting to get
on any random day, there could be 40 live calls across the closers on one day.
Mm-hmm. Now it's like 60, 65 daily. But anyway, so
1,800 calls a month. That's a volume.
It's a lot.
Shout out to the marketing and the founder for doing the webinars. Some founders, man, my partner Alex, he doesn't have the marketing blood, and so he kind of feels a lot of friction when I ask him to do those things, which is understandable. But man, it's such a powerful hack. Like Dickie and Cole, they're running 3-day challenges, and they'll book 240 calls off the bat.
It's huge.
It's like a cash injection where you're just changing lives, and they come in primed up. You can do 30-minute call. Are you guys doing 60 minutes for those people still?
Mm-hmm.
But I'm sure they're getting it down and they're moving on to the next one.
Yeah. The way we've set it up is we have all of our closers, and then we have a channel in Slack called Live Transfer. So it's almost like closers become what we call rovers, where if they have a no-show or they have a reschedule, they're in that channel ready to go. And
so they'll pick up a call, and you have like the Zoom transfer ownership. Okay.
Everything's transferred. There's like an automation setup. It's pretty cool. But if you're running over taking payment, or the call's going to go a little bit longer, then you can just let us know. Closer will take it. So we have a very high show rate because of that.
I'm sure. Do you have a closer that is like the rover closer who just like picks up the in between, that guy can probably make more than the normal.
He's just
calendar.
ready. Yeah. He's ready to go at all times.
Sword in hand, just pen ready to take notes.
Exactly.
That's awesome.
So we pack out the calendars and the offer sells itself. So to your point, like the owner's a savage, super hardworking, quick response time in
Tenacious.
Slack. Yeah. He's one of the best owners that I've ever worked with. And so great product, great fulfillment, great owner, makes for a great sales team, great culture. And so we started hitting 50Ks, 50K days, 60K days, and then we started approaching 100K days.
Do you remember which day it was that you broke the record of 56 and hit 60?
Yeah, it was a Friday.
Second half of the month.
Second half of the month. We hit like 57. And that day finished at like 76K. And I was like, oh, dang, like we're really cranking right now.
And at that moment, was the team like, hey, you can go and do Christmas break if you want to, but for the ones who are staying on and working and opening up their calendars, we're going to make you rich type thing? Like,
yeah.
Was that the theme?
There was a rep of ours who he does this like in-person work with his dad every year because his dad has a fireworks stand. So he went into the fireworks stand for an entire week. And not only did he check Slack and be like, dude, what do we have, like 100 closers now? But he could have made like 8 or 9 grand in that week just taking calls. So that was pretty brutal for him. Yeah. But anyway, we ran that webinar towards the end of the month. So that's like the very end of the month, we run the webinar, book 200 calls, and we're starting to do like 100K days consistently. It's like every day is at least 100K. One day we did 150,000 in cash, and it's just all day. Just payment channels just filling up.
What does the dopamine feel like? Like I remember, I think our highest day is like 60. And we don't do a lot of PIFs, which is something I'm working on because we don't really have it structured to where if you do the payment plan, it's much more expensive. It's like an extra $500, which is probably just a flaw in the way that I'm pricing it. But because of that, like we'll get 7 or 8 enrollments at once, and which is 120 in revenue. But we're at like a $60,000 day is our best day. Walk me through like the dopamine. Are you just like, yeah, like is it just like a whoa, like a roller coaster ride all day? Just and the people are putting the gifts in the chat. It's just everybody's going nuts. Like what a day.
There's nothing like having a great culture where everyone is just excited. Everyone's rowing in the same direction. It's contagious. Someone gets hot. Like we had one guy came in. He had joined one of my coaching programs, and he had done some level of corporate executive sales for a period of time. So he's already like a shark, but he'd never done high ticket. And so he signed up and I got him trained up, and he had been on a couple of like really silly offers where, it's just straight, just crank the paid ads and everyone getting on the call has no idea who you are and you're really cutting your teeth. Which is good. Like it's good to get a lot of rejection and really test your skills and not have a bunch of pressure on yourself. But he came into our offer and he closed like 13 out of 18, $73,000 cash in 3 days. And that's really cool for me. Like what I said on the last podcast was that I never got in a high ticket because I was solely focused on making money. And I was never looking at my commission tracker like, oh my gosh, dude, I'm about to make 8 grand or 10 grand. That was never my intention. My intention was always, I want to be on the top of the leaderboard and I want to be the best that I can possibly be. And to see the reps come in and make that income, but climb the leaderboard quickly, and you see like all the time and the effort and the energy that you put into them translate into them making really good income, that's what's the most rewarding.
Yeah. When I first started on the ghostwriting offer, I'll give them credit. They had a lot of goodwill built up with the organic following, and there was a beta cohort, and then they launched the whole thing. But I remember I came in and just went like, I had dealt with a silly company and then another silly one, and then found them, went like 8 for 8, and they were like, this guy's it, and I was just like, bang, 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 piff, piff, piff. Wow, man, that's special. And I'm actually going through that right now where my top rep, Chris, he's on like day number 9 of closing a deal every single day. And the founder just texted me before this. He's like, what's in the water where he's at? And I'm just like, yes. And I was going to ask you about intelligence. You mentioned, I think you were talking about your wife being intelligent or some intelligent something, but I've been thinking about the definition of intelligence a lot. I just took this from Hormozy. Intelligence equals high rate of learning, and learning equals when the behavior changes. And so it's like, if you can just give someone feedback and they implement it, and they implement it, and they implement it fast, and they're intelligent, and they just catch that win, you can become unstoppable, right? So so you had the top rep, corporate sales, comes in, hits the leaderboard. He's on. Was he like towards the top at that point, or finished number one?
He didn't finish number one. We had one guy who did like 250K cash with like a 45 or 54% close rate.
Whoever that is, rock star.
Which is really cool. Yeah, he did like 35K commission. So, but the team's huge, you know. It's like we get on a Zoom meeting, there's like 34 people on the meeting, setters and closers together. So very competitive team. And that's been something that the reps that I came onto the offer who didn't know me were really appreciative of, was that they had done well and been on top for so long they didn't feel like anyone was breathing down their neck or challenging them. So now it's like, okay, like we got dinner last night with Satya, and he had like a 28K day yesterday, completely new to the offer, hasn't even been in high ticket that long. So to see that, like consistent killers on the team that are always putting their foot on the gas and have that drive and that energy, it's contagious, where people are slinging deals left and right and celebrating each other. And it's not like ego driven. It's more of like, hey dude, like what Tristan taught us on the sales meeting, I immediately implemented it. And now I just overcame this objection, or this person was crying on the call.
Yes.
It's powerful.
Yeah. Chris learns from Nick and Jew, who I had on recently, and he's a great sales trainer. And, he's very NEPQ driven, which I think is more curious challenger ideology, and I'm a little bit more empathy, just give the person life, breathe life into them. And so there's this 3 words like props to you, and I say that all the time on my calls, and I just gave Chris that piece of feedback. He was doing really well with his structure of his sales process, and I was like, all you have to say is props to you right here. Like if you're beating them up about pain and cost of inaction, they're like visibly, like it looks as if they're getting punched in the face, just add a little bit of hey, maybe some of that's your fault and you need to take ownership, but props to you for being proactive anyways despite blank. Or when they're setting big goals, just say props to you for thinking not just about yourself but about your legacy or about your family. And he just implemented that on the sales meeting. Next call, boom, props to you. And the guy's like, thanks for saying that, that's why I paid, or something like that. And it's like, yes. To your point though, I think whenever a top rep or a person goes from nothing to something, as the other maybe top rep or high performing rep, it can give you a little bit of anxiety. It's like, oh crap, this guy's getting 6 deals in a day, like, and you have a choice on how to respond right there. And for me, whenever the other second place guy on the offer that I was closing on, whenever he would do well, it would just force me back into the pipeline, CRM calls, open up the calendar wide open. I'm not losing, you know. So the culture though, we were on a more of like a 2 or 3 person team, but to see that across, you know, a dozen reps, that's really got to be fulfilling. You know, props to you for creating that culture. What does it feel like to go from 5 reps to 15, and then with the setting department like 30? Like what have you kind of, has your brain been broken? Like what is that like?
Yeah, I'm blessed enough to have a really good setter manager on our offer. He's a beast. Same level of standards, and really, really cares a lot. So it's a good thing to be challenged in that way, where the setters are dialed. They're just as well trained as the closers are, in the sense that super thorough, very communicative. And the best setters, they know exactly where the lead's at. They're studying the notes, they're studying the calls. They're bringing calls to me and saying, hey, I noticed that this was said, and I feel like we could have done this better. What are your thoughts? Just want to let you know this is where my deal's at in the pipeline, constantly updating me. So they're just as dialed as the closers are.
That's a superpower for a company.
Yeah.
Right? That's a supercharger.
Everyone's going in the same direction.
We're not there yet. So one of the things that is the biggest initiative for me this month is building out the setter department, which I set before I closed and paid my dues, right? Like a lot of people skip. There's not a lot of, well, I guess there have been a few become a setter offers, but bring back the high ticket setter. Bring back the setter offers, right? Like if there was a program that was pumping out high quality setters, that would be awesome. We're going through that though right now, where the leads are showing up and they're not ready for a closing call. And one of my reps that I keep referring to, Chris, he brought me this deal, and I got on the follow-up call with him because I'm still kind of in the field with my guys. And he tried to close him. I was like, this guy's not closable. Like, this is not a closing situation, you know? And he's like trying to strong arm him and stuff. And I'm like, no, talk to this guy in 90 days. Like, we need to send him YouTube videos. Like, he's not ready. And so there's a huge gap in our thing where it's like, oh yeah, people are booking whole 60-minute calls. They're thinking it's the intro call, and they're not looking at the brief, and they're not warmed up, and we don't know anything about them. Like, we got on one yesterday where my guy texted me. He's like, this guy wasn't even looking. Like he said, he's literally the opposite of looking for a job. I'm like, dang, okay, so that's costing us a lot of money. So shout out to your setter manager and the setting department. It's now very visible to me how much that matters.
Yeah, especially like the funnel that we're running, where it goes from organic, and then we have paid as well, to low ticket products that, once again, nurturing the prospect into a funnel in which they're talking with setters to get further qualified, further resources. Everything is hand in hand. Like, you could easily sit there and be like, you know, there's just the training and the closers are just savages with objection handling, and that's not it at all. Like, if you're getting a ton of objections at the end of those calls, you're just missing a lot of stuff in the process. But it's so well documented and so thorough with the SOPs that you can pretty clearly see where the dips are and why certain leads show up on calls the way that they are. But another thing that I've been preaching to the sales team, especially the guys that have been there for a while, who have really benefited from how great of a marketer and operator the owner is.
You think you're a top closer until you get some less organic leads.
100%.
Brand new. He's like, oh my God.
Well, dude, they keep asking in the sales conversation, how long you been following the CEO for? They ask it. It's like the default when you don't know what to ask next. And they'll be like, how long you been following us for? How did you find us? Which is, that question does nothing for you. Let me explain why. Because even if they said, you know, I've been following them for 10 years, that doesn't mean that they're going to move forward. But what they typically say...
And if they say that, you might think they're going to buy.
Yeah. It's like, the way I describe it to them is if I was moving out of my apartment into a different apartment or a house. You can have some boxes that it's like the throwaway stuff. You got like TV remotes and shoes and stuff. It's not breakable. You're going to do whatever you want with that box. But there's certain things like, you know, plates or silverware, glasses, etc., that stuff can't be shaken around, so you'd write fragile on the box. And so what a lot of closers do when they think it's a good lead that makes good money or has been following us for a while is they treat them differently, and they don't ask.
And that's what they typically do.
They don't ask the confronting questions. They don't challenge the excuses or the limiting beliefs. They don't try and shift their perspective, and they pitch them, and then the prospect will stiff arm them and push them away. So I've been pushing back on that question because they keep asking it, even though I tell them not to, in hopes that continues long term. But I'm like, dude, I mean, and we even see it now. Like people saying, I just found you yesterday, or not even being willing to turn their camera on, right? Like a lot of the things that you see with colder leads. And I'm like, this stuff's not going to work long term. You shouldn't even be asking that, but you should be prepared. It doesn't matter how long they've been following us for. Like, if you can identify a clear problem that they don't have a solution to, and build urgency. If you met someone
this morning and they're starving and you've got a steak, you don't ask them, hey, when did you see my sign? You know, you just sell them the steak.
Yeah.
Curious. So let's get tactical with this. I think that one of the reframes of that question that I used to ask was, what stood out to you about what you saw that made you continue through the funnel, right? Or something to that degree. And I might have asked, you know, how long you've been following us. What about the founder resonated with you so that you resonated with our solution? What do you think about that?
Depends on when you ask the question. Mm-hmm. If that's like an opening question, I'm okay with it. but they'll use it as like a default because we all do this. And what I see oftentimes is like, what I see is that the reps, they're not thinking deeply enough about what the person is saying
Yeah.
to know what to ask next. And so
They're going through the motions.
And there's this split second where they don't know what to ask next because they're not paying attention. And that'll be the default. They'll ask, well, how long have you been following us for? To try and get more leverage. Or they'll go into the numbers like I was talking about where they're like, so tell me about like what's in the Roth, or tell me, and it's a crutch instead of leaning into the discomfort of not knowing what to ask next.
Yeah.
It's a quick go-to for them,
Mm-hmm.
and it's shooting them in the foot.
Well, even for me, like because of my selling style, and maybe I just benefited from organic leads the whole time. I don't know, but I didn't really go really deep on pain and cost of inaction as much as I did going bigger on the goals to create a gap. And so I think I might have leaned on that a little bit too much. And so it's certainly uncomfortable for me to even talk about the pain questions and the cost of inaction. So but what would you say to the rep that's having trouble with that? Like, let's say I'm the rep and I'm like, man, I'm not sure where to go. It was a good lead, so I wanted to make sure I didn't burn it. Like, what is the answer?
The common theme that I see is you're overthinking it, typically, and you're focused on yourself.
Mm-hmm.
In the sense that you're worried about, well, what if I ask this question and it doesn't land, or what do I ask now? And you're all focused on your word tracks, your frameworks, your commissions. It's an hour-long call. I'm on Zoom. Got to get the deal in because of the leaderboard, etc. You're not focused on the person, and you're not listening to what they're telling you. Because if you kept it simple, and you've been doing sales for a while, like you've probably taken thousands of calls at this point. You know the process, so... for someone who isn't as experienced, I get it, but it's something that is within your control of just getting a firmer understanding of the process. But the biggest reason I see that reps will panic and not know what to say is because they're not empathetic enough in the conversation and the person doesn't trust them. And that's why the questions they're asking the prospect don't land.
Yeah, they're falling flat.
And they'll get one-word answers, or the prospect will just keep it very surface level with them and not be open or receptive to our reframes or our feedback or our changes in perspective. And it's a flat conversation with no urgency, no pain, no reflection. And there's nothing you can do at that point when you start trying to pitch them, in your heart when you should be and you shouldn't be pitching somebody. And that's where, when the objections come out, you just let them go because you didn't do everything you could to serve them.
Yeah. It's interesting that I'm coaching one of my guys on just actively listening. It's like, how many times do I have to remind you to say the words, what do you mean by that? Right? Like, when they say a thing that is ambiguous or vague, don't assume it. Just ask them what they mean by that word, right? It's like, I don't really feel like I'm growing at my current company. Okay, you're not growing. What do you mean by growth, right? And they'll typically just take that and move to the next thing because they're thinking about where they're at in the process, or they're just trying to push them through an assembly line. It's like, luckily for me, I'm an empathetic person. Like, I can put myself into your shoes and I can literally feel as though I am you. Right. So I kind of had a natural ability to do that. And I'm struggling to learn. I don't know how to teach that. So that's been kind of a challenge for me. Like, how do you teach someone to care? I don't know if you can.
I don't think you can.
Yeah.
And it shows in the conversations. That's why all these guys who are teaching sales frameworks and tactics and stuff, and you can tell they don't have the empathy. Everyone following that and trying to implement it, seeing it fall flat on their face, then that's exactly why.
Yeah. You have to care. And that's why, like, we were talking to somebody about, the age-old or the 3-year-old debate of insurance versus high ticket. And it's like, insurance is cool, man. I don't even know if I believe in the product, but even if I did, like, I like selling transformation because I care about people. I like breaking limiting beliefs. I like helping people bet on themselves. instead of coverage. You know, I don't want to sell coverage. I want to sell push offense. You know, let's go somewhere, right? So, luckily, the transformational coaching space, I really, really enjoy it, and I like life-changing offers, right? Like helping a person get through their financial literacy and help them start a writing business or get a new job. Like we help people double their salary in like 4 months. You know, It's awesome. So 100K days, 150K days. Where did you guys end up on the month?
We finished at 1.4 million for December.
That is wild.
Yeah.
Thoughts?
I've seen people, I mean, I was on an offer, my first offer that I work with that did 1.2 million. And I remember us hitting 100K days and being like, dude, this is insane. Like, how do we even do this? But we were selling like $30,000 packages, you know? So I was like, well, I'll probably never do that again because it was such high ticket prices. So to do that with a 6K offer, it's crazy. But yeah, I mean, it's very rewarding. I'm really proud of the team and how they've came together. And I know that in comparison to a lot of these high ticket offers that get to those $1 million months, like it's an actual ethical company with a good product where we're actually changing people's lives. It's not a cash grab. And the people are literally, you know, doubling, tripling, quadrupling their net worths, getting out of decades of debt cycles and completely changing the trajectory of their own family and their children's lives.
Yeah, dude. Well, that's why I'm excited to keep building this skill. And we can talk about, you know, how much optimism I have for the space. And we made a joke at dinner last night, like we need more sales trainers. But I actually believe that. We need more sales trainers. You can put me on, we'll clip this up. Like the industry needs more sales trainers, not less. We just need more that are actually competent, right? So we can go create a high ticket sales training coaching. That's the new
Train the trainers.
Yeah. Let's just train the trainers on how to coach the reps. But in all seriousness, like I think for all intents and purposes, we need. Let me ask. Well, you have a good pool of candidates, and I'd love to borrow your, you know, audience to fill some of my slots up. But like, even you, it's like we still need good closers. They're hard to come by, right? Yeah. And you might have a dozen, but like we need hundreds for all these offers. And back to the optimism piece, it's like, yeah, like this is coaching. You think coaching's gonna go out of style? No, it's not. Whether it's fitness, health, wealth, relationships, like whatever. And I'm really excited because even though I don't have a product of my own, and I've taken some one-on-one clients and stuff, and I'm figuring out how to do that, but just having the skill of taking leads that opt into something and driving revenue, you'll be in business forever. And you can just attach yourself to someone like the company that you're on or some of these other offers. And it's just like, whether it's writing business, career coaching, you know, women's postpartum weight loss, like whatever, you know, resonates with you, you can just attach yourself to a life-changing service and supercharge their impact. And that's what you've done, you know, like because of you and of course everyone else, right? Like, but in large part because of you, you've been able to triple that guy's company and triple the impact and the amount of enrollments and the people that have been affected by it. That's freaking awesome, dude.
Yeah.
I'm sure people have, you know, said that, but like, that's awesome.
Thanks.
And now we're in January.
Yep.
So real quick, do you need a glass of water or something?
Yeah.
Brandon, could you help us out? He's like dying over here.
My throat is killing me.
But
glass of water.
I'll take one if you don't mind.
Where?
Just sink. I don't know.
There's upstairs. Go upstairs and to the right of the fridge, it'll be your first cabinet. The glasses up
Just
there.
water.
Sure. Yeah.
Thank you,
whatever.
buddy.
Yeah. But now we're in January. Are you guys on the? Because obviously you had the end of the year push, price raise, etc. So I'm sure that helped you. Do you have? I mean, are you guys trying to keep it like? Are you going for 10 million or 12 million this year? Like, what's the plan?
Yeah, I'd say so. I don't think he's definitely not going to take his foot off the gas. Yeah, the thing is, he has the front end, which is financial literacy, and then he has the back end, which is growing the money. We have all kinds of investment opportunities, but then he's launching a CPA firm side of things where people can come and just get tax strategy, just help them save on taxes and get more of a portfolio in place. So, I mean, it's such a great product. He's so knowledgeable. I don't think that there's any ceiling on what he can accomplish.
Yeah. Well, when you're solving something as big, I mean, your total adjustable market on that is like everybody, right?
Yeah.
It's like everyone can be helped. So
Totally.
that's really fascinating to think about, right? That's awesome. So I want to dive into what we're planning, and we've got the Bible study that you launched, and I'm trying to facilitate some more growth on that. We've got the event that we're doing. There's a couple themes in there, like consistency, longevity in this industry. What else is important besides hitting $100,000 a month, which we can talk about that too. And like where to go once you start doing numbers. I think that'd be really interesting. And we can call some shots on what we think will happen this year. I think that'd be fun too. But I know you were pretty public about this, so I'm not spilling the beans here, but you netted $100,000 profit of your own.
Mm-hmm.
Any takeaways?
Well, I wish I was in an industry where you didn't have to flex that kind of stuff to get people's attention.
Mm-hmm.
But that was the main reason I did it, and it's more so for like my kids and myself, because I was that guy who would hear about stuff like that, and I was like, I'll never achieve that. And in order to get there, you got to like really take advantage of people, was a narrative that I would tell myself.
Sure.
But my takeaways were that, number one, I was never in it for the money. I was never saying like, I got to make $10,000 a month or I got to make $50,000 a month. And when I would see stuff like that, for the most part, a lot of people will point the finger and be like, that guy saying how much money he makes is insecure. But typically from what I've realized, I see it all the time nowadays. I think it's more insecure on the person's side, but it's also insecure on the people who are calling it out.
Sure.
Because typically when people are agitated or frustrated about money or their weight or et cetera, it's just you're starting to trigger certain things in themselves that they're uncomfortable with or haven't dealt with. So I think everyone always says that it's cliche, your income is a definition of the impact that you make. But I always want Christ to be the center of what I do. So the main reason I want to make more income is not so that I can buy nice stuff, and I'm not a flashy guy. Like I don't have a Rolex, I don't have a nice car. I'm pretty low-key about stuff like that. I want to be able to bless my family, and I want to be able to take care of the bills and provide, and I want to be able to give generously to people.
Sure.
And thank you so much.
You. The best speech giver ever. Thank you, good friend.
Braden Steckler on YouTube is the man.
Go find Braden's stuff if you're wanting to get in touch with the Lord as well. He's got the best, most fastest growing YouTube channel in that space as well.
He does. It's real, bro.
So
it's good stuff.
You want to keep Christ at the center.
Yeah.
That's something that I declared for myself last year when I ran them up 240 and I made $240,000. And I was like, okay, that's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
And it felt awesome. Don't get me wrong. I lived off the high of that ultra for a month. They talk about like post-graduation blues, like post-marathon blues. Like I didn't have that. Like it was lit the whole time. And then I was like, okay, I averaged 20K a month, and I had, it wasn't a flat line, but I was like, I averaged $20,000 a month. That's awesome. But then I thought, you know what? Am I just gonna go try for 300? And is that it? Like, is that really the goal? And how I'm like, what I think about when I first wake up? Like, is that really starting to feel like a little bit of a hamster wheel, which we can talk about. This year I did 300 flat, like right on the money, which is, again, it's great, right? Like, how could I complain? I didn't do a good job of saving my money, by the way. So maybe I need to buy your program. Send me a strategy link. But it took me about 9 months and moving to Austin and getting mentors like you in my life and my buddy Chris and, you know, my housemates and folks that were farther along in their walk in their faith to have some of this stick. Because I didn't have that much frame of reference, but I wanted to start putting God at the center of what I was doing. And that was like what I was saying. There was not a real strong like leading indicator, except for my declaration of it. Like, here, I want this to happen. Like, I want God at the front, at the front, at the front, at the front. And I was still living in the world, you know, and things like that. But around October, November, I really started getting in the Bible. Like, not just reading on my phone, which I have a really awesome app called Bible Break that like takes me off of social media and then forces me to look at the word. So I have like my screen time and my Bible verse time on my phone is directly related. So that's pretty cool. But I was just getting in the Bible. And I was like, okay, I'm taking 8 hours worth of calls, or now that I'm in management, I'm doing 8 hours of management in the form of getting on calls with my reps. Where does the Lord fit into this, you know? And so I had to kind of force it in. And the habit was to just jump into business and revenue and where we at on cash collected. And let me go look at the closer portfolio sheet in the spreadsheet. Mm-hmm. But just now, in December and January, have I felt the momentum of what it feels like to really walk with God. And that is, like, for this to just be the beginning and be this powerful, I can't really fully conceptualize what the upper limit is. And there isn't one, really. But that's been so rewarding. Like, I feel like it's like, oh, I've just been dehydrated this whole time. Like, that's what was wrong with me. Like, this impending sense of doom and unease in my soul. It was simply like I just wasn't getting the fruit of the Spirit. And now that I'm in the Bible, it's like, that's how I start my day. Like, I'm not starting my day with a sales call. It's not happening, you know? And I really am excited for this year to be the year that I become a weapon for the kingdom. Walk me through, you gave me the 0 to 1, right, on our last conversation, but, like, what does your day look like in terms of getting into the Word? And how frequent is it? And why did you decide to start the Bible study? And maybe just speak to all of that.
Yeah. Well, to your point, like, there were definitely times when I first got into sales where sales was so all-consuming in my mind because it was new. And I was working
all-in type of guy.
All-in type of guy where I wanted to be the best, and the company I was working for just had really high expectations, and in my opinion, at times it was very unhealthy, the time commitment to it. And even from like a percentage standpoint, like I definitely don't feel like I was being compensated for the amount of time I was putting into it. But besides the point, very focused on the numbers and the leaderboard and the follow-ups and where's this person at in the pipeline, or when are they going to tip over, and have they texted me back? Where it was just all day, every day with sales. I would eat and then go to bed. And usually it was like vegging out before I would go to bed. But I would wake up in the morning and I would try and get in the Bible, and I was so stressed out about where I was at in sales and the numbers and everything like that, that I would struggle to like really spend time with God. That's kind of just something I would like check off. And the main reason I was checking it off is because, once again, back to my origin story of my relationship with my own dad, and never feeling like I was good enough for him, and always feeling like I needed to perform in order to earn his love. A lot of the times when we look at our relationship with God, whatever we had with our earthly father is what we project onto God.
Oh, wow.
So I would get in the Bible because I was fearful that if I didn't, I wouldn't be as close to God. So it was almost my way of like, checked it off, God, I read the Bible today, like, you can answer my prayers now. It's very like transactional and fear-based. Like, if I don't read the Bible and I watched porn today or whatever happened, God doesn't love me. And God is going to throw me in hell And I would struggle to like even go to bed at times. I was so worried about what that dynamic was like. And I didn't feel close to God. Feel close. It's not biblical, by the way. But through really surrendering to God and having all the Bible studies and time with some mentors, I was able to realize that I just had a lot of trauma and issues that I hadn't dealt with, that I needed to deal with in order to actually surrender to God. All the control issues, all the anger issues, all the lack of trust in God in general, which is a recurring theme for me, have allowed me to experience my relationship with God in a way that is very consistent, meaning like my Bible time nowadays is every day in the morning reading the Word, not to check off a box, but to spend time with God. And my prayer and my desire is that I would learn more about Him and what He wants from me as a man, as a leader. And it's bled into sales. Whereas like typically when I first got into high ticket, it was like, got to either perform or teach sales so that the business can make more money, and that's it. And I would here and there talk about Jesus, but I wasn't forward about my faith. You didn't see it in the content. It was just all strategy and pushing my business forward, and what I wanted is very unfulfilling and transactional, where a lot of my relationships were transactional, right? I'm just the sales trainer, the sales manager, or the sales guy, not making an impact on the person. And so when my relationship with God started to change, I felt the freedom to just share it because it became who I was as a person.
Wow.
So when we're on meetings, I'm talking about serving the person and anchoring the fact that I'm a Christian and the fact that Jesus set me free from all these addictions, and these people, I empathize with them and what they're going through. They're just lost. And they're trying to fill certain holes. Like when we talk about the financial literacy offer, you're spending the money because there's something painful in your life that you're running away from that you don't want to deal with. And buying the purse or buying the vacation makes you feel better temporarily. It's the same thing with addictions and alcohol or drugs or sex or porn. It's the same thing. You're just trying to fill that hole. And the guys that I train and work with start to realize that in their own life. A lot of guys that work with me are Christian, but just in general, they're like, dude, this is weird. I've never thought about life this way. I've never thought that if I was just empathetic and sat and listened and really gave them an ear to hear and was compassionate and patient with them, what the outcome would be. Not to say that these people are manipulating the audience or the prospect for personal gain, but it's transformative because it's not normal nowadays. Everything's transactional. Everything is about me. Everyone's selfish. Social media is all about only posting the good things, not being real and vulnerable and raw about what's actually going on, and running from reality. And so the Bible study came about because I started to feel more convicted that I wasn't being as vocal about who I actually am, and the need in the space for the guys who have been sold the lie that once they make 10K or six figures that they're going to be happy and fulfilled, even though you've made it, I've made it, the $100,000 a month did not change anything at all. And you people that are listening to my voice, you'll hear it and it'll go in through one ear and out the other. And you're like, no, you don't know me. You don't know my story. You don't know what I've gone through. It will feel different. It doesn't. It does not change anything. Money just magnifies who you already are as a person. And I feel that the reason God has blessed my business and my influence and allowed me to be in the right rooms and have the right opportunities is because I'm keeping Him at the center. And everyone who works under me and learns from me will learn how to become a better person and make a kingdom impact in their own life and in their own families.
Come on.
So that's my goal. That's the vision. That's why I started the Bible study, because all these guys are lost and they're all struggling with the addictions, and they're all struggling with comparison, and they're all struggling with insecurities. And Jesus Christ is the only thing that can actually fill that void and show you who you actually are as a person and why you're on this earth.
Praise God, dude. And for those who are listening, if you are feeling those things, and whether you're brand new to sales, you're in setting, you're closing, you're making big money, you're making $20,000 a month, you've checked that box off or not. Like wherever you're at on the journey, if you're feeling empty, there's a reason for that. And I was there for so long. And it wasn't until about 90 days ago that I broke some of those chains. And it was because I just replaced it with God. And I didn't need any more time in the day. You know, it's like we know what the objections are, right? It was just that typically if you break a habit, I don't know if this is an Atomic Habits quote or James Clear thing, but it's like you need to replace it, right? And so I just filled up where I was empty with faith and with the Lord, and most importantly with getting into Scripture and surrounding myself with people that know the things and that will encourage me to do the right thing, not the wrong thing. If you're anywhere on that spectrum and you want to get more involved, we started a Telegram chat. Tristan leads the Bible study on Monday evenings, and it's been a lot of fun. And the themes are pretty common amongst the crowd, right? And it's like, all right, there's and we're just scratching the surface with this, right? Like, what is it? In your Instagram chat, it's like 200 some odd people. And now in the Telegram, we've already got, I think, 90. It's going to be like by the time we have another podcast, it'll be thousands. It'll be thousands of people.
Yeah.
So talking about making kingdom impact, I hope I can just be a good steward of that as well. But it just speaks to this gigantic hole that is not being filled, right? And everybody's talking about objections and reframes and making money. It's like, great, dude. I don't want to be known for that. I want to. That can be my driving thing because that's the way we serve people. That's the way we are of service. But there's got to be some longevity in all of this, and I think it's only through Christ. That's the real marathon. Your walk with God. That's the longest race.
And a lot of the things we're talking about on those Bible studies, it's like, yes, we're reading the Bible, but these guys they're able to open up about things that they have not opened up about in years and get the freedom. Because what a lot of men do is they just suppress their emotions, and similar to what we're talking about, they run after the money because they think that once they get the money, they're going to feel valuable and successful and like they'd achieved something, and you do temporarily, but it doesn't last, and you just run away from that little boy that you are that was abused or struggled with insecurity and didn't feel like he was good enough. And to your point with the Hermosi quote about not feeling significant or being deeply insecure, that's most guys. And having that opportunity for them to be able to be raw and real and lay it out there, talking about pornography addiction or talking about adultery or talking about drinking problems and sex problems and just struggling with their identity and who they are and what their relationship with God even is, gives them a lot of freedom. And when I'm looking in the Zoom chat or I'm looking in the conversations inside a Telegram or in the group chats, a lot of freedom, a lot of love, a lot of peace, a lot of progress that they feel like they're making. And that shows up in your conversations, not just in sales on Zoom, but in life in general. And you become a better person, a more compassionate person. And you start to live a life in which you're actually on purpose and you're fulfilled, which is what you're chasing after in the first place with sales and making money and all that stuff.
Yeah, well, my cup is certainly feeling full, man. And shout out to our mentor, Brian, my more recent mentor, but has helped you a ton in your journey, and your brother as well. And it's just get into the Word, man. And it took me for anybody who's like early on or skeptical or whatever, like welcome in, join the club, you'll come around. I think that for me, it took about 90 days for it to really start the can opened up. And now it's getting exciting. I'm like looking in the biblical mirror, and I can see my progress. I'm like, oh, it's over. Like, done. I'm all in. Because I'm an all-in type of guy. And so I had a friend of mine, another mentor, his name is Carson, of mine, and he was like, dude, the way that you approach business and the way that you approach these ultra 100-mile races, if you just directed that towards your faith, you have no idea. No idea. So consider me all in, man. I think that it's daily. It's not going to just, everything's fixed now. Like let's make sure that we're clear that that's not what's going to happen. It's not all just going to magically go away. But if you start your day with the Word and you walk with God and you give everything to Him, you'll be able to manage things a lot more. And you actually see the longevity with all this money stuff, right? Proverbs 3:5-6 says, trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. And on all your ways acknowledge Him, and He will make your path straight. That's the answer right there. And I don't need to read the Bible in a year. I'm just going to read that verse every single day till my dumb self can actually get it. But that's been the theme for me, is just obeying, just straight up obedience. Obey, obey, obey. Leave it to Him. Lean not on your own understanding. We don't actually know what's going on. We're imperfect, broken souls that need the salvation, and we need Him. And some guys especially aren't, whether it's a vulnerability thing or they've never even been given a platform or a safe space to have those types of conversations. You're not alone, man. Like, there is a way out, and the only way out is through the Word. So the Bible study is going to be there. We're going to grow that thing. We're going to grow that sucker big time. And I think when I look at ambition, we might have talked about this last time a little bit, but there's godly ambition and there's worldly ambition. And I just want to make sure that if I am going to go and hit these big revenue goals, that I do want to hit, and I will hit them, because it's an indication of how much impact and service that I'm making, especially when you have it set up like we do. It's directly tied to your amount of impact.
Mm-hmm.
I want to make sure that I attach that to something godly.
Totally.
Right. And so we're going to be doing this event. It was just an idea, and I sold a bunch of sales guys on running the Austin Marathon. I hard closed them in person. I was like, hey, you want to be part of history? Let's run the Austin Marathon, change your life, look for momentum, etc. And I think that was what I found first before my walk with Christ, was that. And a lot of people do it with fitness, right? And so I signed up all these guys for the marathon, paid like $5 or $6 grand for all the tickets, like 30 guys. And then I was like, well, what we could do, they're all in sales, so why don't we do like a sales guy meetup? Because we're also all on Zoom all day, and there's no personal connection. And just the dinner last night was just magical. It was literally electric. Like, the vibes were through the roof. We were screaming. It was mostly me just hollering about whatever.
Everyone's hype, man.
I don't know what I was talking about, but
Yeah.
Now we're putting this marathon mindset thing together. And so what I want to bring to the audience is longevity in the sales game. And tactically, like on a skill set basis, if we bring it back down to the local level, it's like long-term follow-up, continuing to serve people, like you said, with the setters, like knowing where the deals are at in the pipeline, right? Like most sales reps, there's plenty of sales process, skill set, on call, say this, do that, and you'll close.
Mm-hmm.
But what I want to remind people is not everybody is a now person. There are people that are a not now person. If they seen you yesterday and they're just, hey man, like, no amount of trust me, bro, is going to make me buy today.
Yeah.
You're going to have to give me some time. You can't win them all. Even if you have a 40% close rate, that means you have a 60% not yet closed rate. And unless you're a bully on the calls, which some people are, and we know some trainers that give that vibe, unless you're that, the person would like to maybe eventually do business with you. And it comes from things like continuing to follow up and persevere. And by the way, with that persistence, that's the same way that you help someone walk with Christ.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, I'll nudge you, man. I'll nudge you to death, or to life, I should say.
Yeah.
I'll nudge you to life. Some people need more exposure, right? And so I want to give that to whoever comes to this event. Teach them the copywriting stuff, how to send weekly emails, how to follow up with someone 10, 20, 30, 50, 60, 90 days, 6 months later, right? Because if you really believe that your product or service is the thing that they need to get from point A to point B, and it's the best option, which if you have a company like the one you're running and the one I'm running, you should feel that way, right? Then you have a moral obligation to do that, right? So I want to give that to the audience. And it's also just going to be the event is the outcome, meaning like hang out in person, connect in real life, be able to breathe life into them in the Word, or just having dinner and laughing, that's going to be a lot of fun too. But what are you thinking ahead of the event that you'd like to maybe give to the folks outside of just connecting, which shouldn't be overlooked?
Well, I would say like a lot of guys in high ticket in general, they don't have strong community because of how the role is designed.
Yep.
With Zoom in your house or in your apartment or wherever you take your calls.
Strange.
It is. It's
new.
weird.
It's very strange.
Yeah.
Just in your room.
All day, every day. Some of them are, 6 or 7 days a week guys, and they lose touch with the fact that the world is very different outside of our little info space world, and they miss out on the human connection. And I mean, I felt this way before. You're so much more of like a talker and extrovert than I am.
Yeah.
But I would find myself like regressing socially because I would be on Zoom calls all day, and then I would go get like Chipotle or something. I'm talking to like the worker, and I'm like, bro, do I even understand English? Like, can I even communicate? But yeah, like that in-person element, it makes such a huge difference. If you're with a company and you guys haven't had like an in-person retreat or an in-person dinner and get together, like that's something that we really miss out on in high ticket because most of these brick and mortar businesses are in person. You're running sales meetings in person.
Yeah, like acquisition.
Everything.
Headquarters.
Yeah, shaking hands. You get to really feel who the person is when you're with them in person in a way that you cannot through a Zoom call. And the funny thing with the high ticket stuff, and I think about this a lot, is like if we're doing all of these conversations in person with the level of skill that it takes in high ticket, you would have 100% close rate. Like nobody's going to get up and leave. You can't just leave the Zoom call. But I would just say like
leave the physical room.
But you and I are such we have benefited so greatly from networking.
Oh my gosh.
And building relationships.
Mm-hmm.
I would not be where I'm at without shaking hands and meeting people and going to events. And a lot of salespeople, due to their leadership, are very short-sighted.
What do you mean?
They're not focused on building a personal brand. They're not focused on getting themselves out there and shaking hands. They're and it's a good thing, like focus on what's ahead of you and don't be distracted. But I think sometimes like leadership fears that if you're vocal about how we've built personal brands and we have all of these opportunities in front of us because we have been forward about ourselves and our stories and being willing to like kind of put it out there and take the risk. I think that's something a lot of salespeople could really benefit from.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like it is one-dimensional, and hey, I mean, if you take 7 calls a day, you don't really have much energy for much more.
Yeah.
And like, whoever's doing the content, while they're doing the sales calls, shout out to you. And I'm drowning right now.
It's a lot.
Like this podcast, this is like episode 25, I think. And that's been since like August, September, so call it like 4 or 5 months. It's been it's a lot. And so if you're a rep, that is really interesting that you say that, because I think for me, I have a natural ability. Like I didn't build a personal brand while I was in sales, and I wish I did, but I did build an in-person brand. So I didn't build a personal brand online, but I was shaking hands. You can best believe that. I was going to all the conferences. I was making time for it. I was catching flights and going to the rooms and shaking the hands. And now I'm doing that at scale, which I'm excited for the distribution because we know how powerful that is.
Yeah.
And again, bring on the sales content creators. I'm taking a counter position. We need more sales content. More. Bring it. And if it's good. And the people that aren't good, they're not going to last. Right?
Yeah.
So if you want to last, then make it good.
The other thing that I would say is like this conference is going to be high integrity sales guys.
Yes.
It's not like
no bullies, no losers,
the goonery.
No gooning.
Yeah. Like people that genuinely care about you. And like we said, like the foundation is not just making money. It's becoming a better person, loving the person you're talking to. And that's the quality of people that you'll meet. And it's a brotherhood at the end of the day, which is really missing in this space in general.
Absolutely. And I think you're making a great point, which is the community alone can be the outcome. We'll give you the skill set. I'll give you the email that you send to your list, and it'll pay for everything. And Tristan will teach you the leadership stuff. right? Which we can do some stuff on that. I'm also going to have my buddy Simon come, who will do the health side, which is high performance fitness training. Like have you seen that guy that he does fitness for high ticket closers?
Mm-mm.
I don't know his name, but I'll find him. He's legit. He made a fitness program for closers. And that's a really good angle.
That's fire.
But my buddy Simon, who mostly works with executives and business owners, he's going to come and do a panel, and he's just jacked, and I'm getting a little heavy right here. So I'm going to make sure that goes the opposite direction this year with my health. But yeah, community at the top, right? So, and we're just making all this up on the fly, right? Like I have no idea what I'm doing. The landing page that Harrison helped me make is hilarious. Like it's ridiculous.
It's not good.
I've already made 5 sales though, just sending it out. But the community is the outcome, and that's my 2 biggest values in my life are community and connection. And so I'm pretty full on that. But what we're starting to see is that, like I'll tell you this: one of the guys who already paid for the event, he's like, "Man, this is like a dream come true for me. Like I'm in my house all day, and I really have been meaning to get out and go shake some hands." So, who knows how big this will get? But the reason I've talked about this kind of at length with the conviction-based sales, and that's kind of my angle. It's just like really believe in the person, really believe in the product, and that'll do away with most of the other, strong arming stuff. But then the marathon mindset is long-term, and it's not just run a marathon, but that'll also help you break limiting beliefs, and that's my angle, and that's kind of what makes me different. And I want to encourage people to go do something that puts you in an uncommon category. But the marathon mindset is like this long-term thing with Christ, with the Lord, with your health and your fitness, with your skill set, and continuing to improve and adding things like personal brand, content, copywriting, fill in the blank, add a software, who knows. But then the community, like we go fast alone, but we go further together. And I've said this like 20 times. The reason I started this podcast was because in the sales space, there's a bunch of finger-pointing, egotistical nonsense. It's like, I'm not having it. Like, I'm here, baby. We're not doing this. Not on my watch. Like, let's get around. Let's do the round table thing. And let's make each other's lives better. Let's share all the intellectual property. There's enough for everyone to win. So hopefully that manifests in the way that the event is conducted. I'm going to definitely have to get somebody to help me with the organizational part, because the Lord knows I don't mess with that. But I think it's going to be a lot of fun, man. And I think the bull case is 100 people. That's the moonshot. But if we could do that, I mean, God, sky's the limit.
Yeah.
We can bring some of these guys to God. We'll get Braden up there, start pitching the Lord, get some saunas and cold plunges, do some baptisms. Who knows, man?
Yeah, that'll be great.
I like this integration. Like, I really like what this can become. The future looks really bright.
Yeah.
What else are you excited about this year?
I'd say I'm excited about the personal brand.
Yeah.
I'm excited about building a bigger brand and more opportunities. I think one of my big goals is stabilizing more with similar clients to the big client that I'm working with now. And just continuing to get more opportunities. I want to be able to do more podcasts. I want to be able to do more in-person events and speaking engagements. And as I've said, I want to keep Jesus Christ at the center of what I'm doing and actually change the high-ticket closer. Because we talked about this last time. It's booming. Like, you literally see a new high-ticket closer trainer guy every single day. They're just like spawning. And a lot of them are younger, and a lot of them don't have that life experience. That's not to say they're immature, but in general, like, life will kick you in the butt in order for you to learn lessons and humble yourself. And so I'm trying to drive out the ego. I'm trying to drive out the love of money and making money for your own personal satisfaction and selfishness. And I want to build that Bible study as big as I possibly can, so that those guys, and it's all men's Bible study, are able to become stronger leaders, and become more consistent of getting in God's word. And similar to what Brian told you today, like spending that time in God's word for a year and giving it everything that you have, the same level of attention to detail you do with your sales, will radically change your life, and God will speak to you and he'll change who you are. And that'll make all the difference.
Dude, the future looks bright with the faith-based side of things, right? Which is the center of it all. Let's say they don't even know if they believe in God. They're at the very beginning. They might have saw some of your stuff, maybe not. Do you have any practical advice for that guy?
Yeah, I think one big thing that people lose touch with is that you and me were both just like them. And I wasn't raised in church, and I didn't go and take a Christian shower, and all of a sudden I'm perfect and I don't struggle with things, and I don't make mistakes. That's not true. And a lot of people fall into this thought process of, I struggle with a lot of things, like I struggle with porn, or I struggle with drinking or drugs, or I want to make more money. And they think that this is all about rule following. And they think that they're not going to do a good enough job following the rules, so why even try? Like, you guys are talking about reading the Bible every day. Like, I don't even read at all, So I think the thing that you have to realize is, just like anything in life, is you have to start small. And at the end of the day, it's God who gets a hold of your heart. And if you have those desires right now of, I want to get closer to God, I want to start reading the Bible, I want to learn more about who God is, then that wasn't something you came to yourself. That's God actually watered that seed that was already inside of you.
Sure.
And he's the one that's starting to grow the tree, and you have to just be patient and trust his plan that it's greater than yours. But if you have that desire to go deeper, that's not something he's going to force you to do. You have to be more offensive. You can't be passive and just wait for it to happen. And as you'll see in your own walk, as you start to put more focus on it and make it the driving factor, the things that you do, you'll really see the fruit grow a lot faster than you think.
Yeah, and even if you're not someone who wants to get saved right away or do the... And it doesn't, it's not like that. It's not this Christian shower, I'm just reborn again and everything's perfect now. It is a big milestone, but if you're on the left side of that and you're just curious, right? A lot of times in NA, like in Narcotics Anonymous, like if you're trying to go get sober or get clean from drugs or smoking weed or doing worse things, they talk about attraction rather than promotion. Meaning, like, if you want someone to join you, don't promote it and like force it. Like, just show them how it's benefiting you and things like that. So that's the angle that I'm trying to take. Is I just want to attract people in and kind of create like a gravity where it's like they see me do it, I'm starting to sprinkle it in, and maybe it's like it's not every single post or every single sentence, but it's like you got to throw a little cheeseburger in the kale, like give them something, like. And for the person that's earlier on that's just a little curious about it, I think that for me, it was getting around people that were ahead in that way. And I'm a big pay for the mentorship, pay down the ignorance tax, go find the expert and just give them money and just go straight line, It didn't quite work that way, but I was able to connect my dots to some. Like, I just met somebody that's 3 years pure. Like, they were hooking up with girls and things like that, and then they stopped, and then they went 3 years. They're like, I'm like, wow, that's like a superhero to me, because I was struck with the lust thing and the porn stuff, and I'm like, okay. And then I realized, oh, this guy's just a regular guy, but he made a choice, and then he started walking with God, and that inspired me, and that motivated me more. So for me, it was going about and getting people like you and your brother and forcing them into my proximity. Right, that's part of the big reason why I moved to Austin, and there's this gigantic resurgence, or whatever you might call it, of Christianity and young folks taking this stuff seriously. So go get out there and find some people that are involved in this, and just look at them, and just go, what's up with you, man? Like, what's going on with you? And they'll tell you, right? Because it's so powerful. And if you might not have that directive access, or you don't have that muscle, go find some creators. There's this guy that we've been talking about, Tristan Steckler. He's got this YouTube channel. And it's just,
He looks just like me.
yeah, he does look just like you. That's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
It's like he's your twin, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But go get some digital mentors. I think that could be a good starting point too.
It's a great starting point.
Did you have any digital mentors that you resonated with?
I did. I used to watch like different pastors like Paul Washer, Vodi Balcom. They're just super passionate about God's word, and they were intense, so similar to me. I think you're just going to more so push towards people that you resonate with. As you've heard, I like the Bible. I want to know what the truth is. I don't want it sugar-coated. I don't want the fluff.
No baloney.
And I think, like, in general, there are a lot of pastors who do fluff it up. And I think everyone has different stages in their walk with God, similar to what you've talked about, where it's like in the beginning you want to understand a little bit deeper, but nothing too intense to where you're overwhelmed and you lose track of why you're even doing it in the first place. But ultimately, I really wanted someone who would preach against sin, because I think some people also teach that, you can be a Christian and because you prayed a prayer one time, all of a sudden you're good and you can do whatever you want and Jesus loves you, and it couldn't be further from the truth of the Bible. And I've just fallen in love with growing in my understanding of God's word, because now I'm married and I'm going to have a family, and I want to build a good foundation for my family where there's love and integrity and peace and patience in my house, and my kids don't grow up worrying about the future and worrying about whether or not God loves them. They know for a fact that regardless of what happens to them, that God is still good and God still does love them, and regardless of their circumstances, his character doesn't change. So I want that, and I want this whole industry to be full of people like that, because as you've seen, like when you have the right heart posture, a lot of people are helped. And that's what we do in Info, is we help people. That's our job. And it transforms the company. And if you're a leader or you want to become a leader, that's one of the quickest ways to do it, is to start doing what you say you're going to do and treating people the right way.
Yeah, leading by example, right? So digital mentors. I think that it's also important to give yourself some compassion, where it's not going to happen overnight. Just start small. Do a little bite, get a little snack. Get a little snack of the word. I've really enjoyed how Brian took it and applied the historical timeline to things. I'm a big psychology nut, where I like to think about the cognitive behavioral side of stuff and the way that our brains work. Mm-hmm. I never really got into history, but something's calling me to do a little bit more of that, like understand the timelines. Like 800 BC, here we are, and the Sumerians and the Egyptians, and the northern kingdom of Israel keeps getting walloped because they're worshiping false idols and stuff. And so I think that the Bible is literally, it's all real. Like, it's all a documentation.
It makes it more real too when you understand the historical context.
It's like, oh, this is real. Like,
Jesus was a real person.
Jesus was real. It's pretty well documented.
Yeah.
And I think would you say that that's pretty well understood? Like,
yeah,
not a lot of people are dismissing that, at least.
Yeah.
Help me connect some of the dots here. So the Old Testament is everything that happened up until Jesus arrives. Is that correct?
Yeah. And New Testament is all the story of Jesus at the beginning of the New Testament, yeah.
Okay. New Testament is the story of Jesus' life from different perspectives. That's the Gospels. And then you have the letters that are like just letters that people wrote that have to do with that.
Yeah.
But it's all, there's a chronological timeline of things, and it's real documented history. Like, this is not, it really happened. Like, so even if you're not a believer just yet, you can read the Bible and understand what's going on here. It's like the foundation, it's like the axiom of Western culture, right? That's super cool to me.
Yeah.
And I'm excited to learn it, What are you, obviously, I'm sure you're in the Word every single day, right? Like, currently right now, where are you at in the Bible, or what are you learning about, or what are you revisiting that's kind of fresh for you? And I know you're doing some Bible study in the morning with your wife and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, where are you at currently? Anything top of mind there?
Yeah. we've talked about this. As of right now, we both read together. So we'll wake up in the morning at 5:30, and this is before we go to the gym. Just to your point, like I'm not doing anything, no notifications, no sales, no nothing, no gym
No Instagram.
until I'm in the Bible. And the main reason that I do it that way, because I've been just as guilty as anyone of the second I wake up, I hit the alarm snooze, and then I'm looking at all the notifications, and this person said that, and this sales call got booked, and this is where we finished yesterday, and it zaps your dopamine, where I don't know if you felt this way before. I'm sure you have, where you feel almost like gross or dirty after just scrolling on the phone, especially early in the morning.
Scrambled egg brain.
Yeah, legit, where everything else throughout the day like pales in comparison to the moment you woke up. But D&D notifications, and we'll read together. We've been reading in letters. Now we're in Hebrews. So we've gone through like all the letters together. We're in Hebrews, which is a really cool book about all the Jews during that time that were being heavily persecuted, which we don't feel as much in the United States, but persecuted, and to the extent that they started to turn away from Christianity. And so all of the writings are challenging them not to do that and warning them against doing that.
Despite the persecution.
Correct. Yeah, and we could go on and on and on, but we've been reading together, and we'll both read quietly and then just discuss as we're driving to the gym, which has been cool because, she's raised Christian. So it's just cool to see how she picks up on certain things that I've never thought of and vice versa, and we're able to really talk about it and go deep. Yeah, because the male brain and the female brain are so different. She's picking up on things that I never would have even thought of, and it just helps me understand where she's at in her faith and what her convictions are, and areas that she wants prayer, areas that she wants to grow in. It's a part of my marriage that having that spiritual intimacy bleeds into every other area of what we do and how we treat each other. We're so connected, and it makes it really hard for anything to get in the way of that because, once again, Christ is the center, and the way that I've heard it shared, and we joke about this, but because of a friend. But if you thought about like marriage, there's this pyramid, and it's like you have yourself on one end of the bottom of the pyramid, and then you have your wife on the other end, and in the top is God. So as you pursue God, you come together. But typically it's, in a worldly marriage, it's me, myself, and I, or we're trying to figure this thing out. And when you're pursuing each other instead of pursuing God, it typically doesn't work because we're fallen, right? We sin, we make mistakes, we're selfish. And when you're grounded on God, and especially your partner fears God, there's a healthy trust and security in that relationship that you can't find anywhere else.
Yeah, I was going to try to interject a minute ago about fearing God and how you said that everybody wants to go to church and get the fluffy thing where it's like everybody's forgiven and be easy on yourself and you can be a whore and still come to Sunday service and stuff like that. And it's like, I was plenty guilty of that, by the way. So let me not try to absolve myself of that. Like I was the guy who would go out and party and get drunk and then come to church and just be like, yes, I'm good to go. Monday, right back into the world. But that's an interesting point that you raised, that if you have that union with the other person that has the fear of God in them, it creates a bond, or it's a very big strengthener of the bond.
Yeah.
So
trust. Trust is everything in relationships, not even just marriage.
Yeah. Have you noticed that there's things that are less important to you now that you've got to the marriage level? Like, it's interesting because not a lot of high ticket guys are typically like, 21, 2 to now we're seeing them, they're 16, right? But typically like 22 to 28, I would say.
Yeah.
Not a lot of them are married. What have you maybe deprioritized now that you're on the other side of the fence?
I think my priorities have shifted in the sense that I'm not allowed to be as selfish as I once was. And there are things that she relies on me for and vice versa. So one thing that I've shared is due to the fact that she's starting to run a business and I'm running a business, one expectation that I had in getting married was that, we'd just be together all the time. And we'd have so much time to go and do whatever we want to do. And we're always going to be high energy and excited to be hanging out. And we are. But no one tells you about how when you get married and you're working 8 to 10 hours a day, it feels like you don't have enough time in the day to really spend that quality time with them.
Mm-hmm.
And being in this role, there's a lot of people pulling you in all different directions. So one thing that I've had to learn is balance way more and
Maybe
sacrifice.
Turn
it off because it doesn't stop. It'll just go into the night.
Yeah.
And you look up and it's 10:30 and it's like we haven't even really spent time together. We've been with each other, but we haven't connected deeply. So and I think that's just the world that we live in, especially in the United States, where it's just go, 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 get it done, get it done, get it done. And so that's been something we're just learning more about because we are regimented and we do want to wake up early and we do want to go to the gym and we do want to be consistent. But putting a pause on everything else going on to focus on each other.
Yeah, making some time for it.
Yeah.
If I can make a suggestion, Jordan Peterson's second book of his 12 Rules for Life series is called Beyond Order. And I think it's like the 10th or 11th chapter. It's called Work Diligently to Maintain Romance in Your Relationship. And when I went and saw him for the tour that he did, that was actually the talk that he gave. So that's why it's really like I can pull from it.
Yeah.
And at the time I was like, I wish this was about cleaning up your room, man. I don't have a wife, right? But I listened to the talk very intensely, and it's basically a playbook for that. So I'd check that out. It's really high quality stuff, and it's not rocket science, but it's like, hey, date night. Don't think it needs to be spontaneous. Like it's Thursday, man.
Yeah.
It's Thursday, and like there's some practical stuff in there, so that might be worth visiting. But
Totally.
yeah, it's interesting, man, to see you stepping into this new man that you're becoming. It's really awesome, and I've made the joke that, when we met, in pretty much all the areas of life, you're about 1 or 2 steps ahead of me. Maybe not all, but in a lot of the big rock areas, like marriage, walk with God, sales management, it's very, what's the word? It's very helpful and exciting to see you where you're at on your journey, because a lot of these things for me are around the corner. Some maybe further down the road, but it's really been awesome to see you step into this new season, man. And since we did this last podcast, I mean, it was probably 90 days ago. I don't know, but a lot has happened since then. And by the time we do a third conversation, it's going to be, we've done a public event together. You've probably got another client under your belt that's equally as awesome, your impact is going to grow, therefore your income. So,
yeah,
dude, I'm pumped for you. And
Likewise.
I'm pumped for what we're going to be doing next month. So if anybody wants to come and meet up, we are going to, the tickets, we're going to discount them from $3,000 to $300.
It's $10,000, but if by the end of this video you move forward, it'll be $350.
Yeah, it's $10,000, but if
we're willing to honor it if you don't leave the video.
Right. If you go ahead and pay while you're actually watching this podcast.
Just put your phone down and pull out a computer. That way you don't leave YouTube. We can check.
Yeah, and if you're on your laptop right now, just start a new tab and go to marathonmindsetmeetup.com. And it's the conviction-based marathon mindset meetup for founders and sales professionals, whom some of which are running a marathon.
Yeah,
that's what the
great
event is called.
acronym. It just rolls off the tongue.
Yeah. I'm not even gonna try that one, but it's $10,000. But if you do it right now and you sign up to come and see us in Austin for the 13th to the 15th, it's $350, and we'd love to have you. It's gonna be an absolute roller coaster ride of a time. First time I've ever done something like this. I've went to the sales events before, SalesCon, that is hosted by Hardly Selling. It was phenomenal. I roomed with Christian Jack and a bunch of the other guys. It was so much fun. Oh my gosh, it was so much fun. Just the connection alone was worth it, and I think I paid a 4-figure amount for that ticket. So
Yeah.
we're trying to make it not break the bank, and my promise is that if you spend money on a flight and a hotel to come here, I know I don't want to take that for granted. That's a big deal, and if I or you or Dylan, who's going to be fairly involved, compels you to come, like, we are not going to take that for granted. So we'll give you plenty of tactical stuff that will allow you to make the money back from a skill set perspective. But we're going to have a great time, and we'd love to invite you out.
Totally.
So,
Let's go.
dude, 2026, man.
Let's make it happen.
Second pod. I don't know when the third one will be, but we will. It'll feel like that for sure. Hopefully, I'll be way further along. Not hopefully, I will be way further along in my walk. If you want to join the Bible study, I'll put the link to the Telegram chat in the description. Tristan's Instagram group chat got full, and we can't add any more people, so
you can DM Bible to either of us on Instagram too.
Yeah, we'll set it up. So DM us Bible, and we'll send you the link, and that's the pod. Let's do it.